All right, so welcome to the Fashion Career Workshop. I'm just going to quickly go through the slides. This is the agenda which Aria was talking about. So we want to share with you the fashion resources. We are very fortunate that Rachel is with us. I'm going to give you an overview of the current fashion landscape, touch on work experiences, resources and internship. Then Aria will do pitching yourself and networking. And last but not least, we'll have Kelly with interpersonal empowerment. So the first one is we want you to know who our internal resource support group is. So if you don't already know, our dean is Jessie. Our department chair is Natalie Smith. Aria's name is there. Our counselor who supports our fashion department is Paula Jung. And of course, Kelly and my email addresses are there. And if you have any questions, feel free to email us. These are internal resources. External resources, I've only listed a few. There are many more, but we'll start off with Fashion Incubator. And I'm going to let Rachel talk about that in a second. SF Made is really, they connect local manufacturers and designers and so on and so forth. So if you're starting a new business, you're not quite sure where to get something made in San Francisco, this is the organization you would contact. And if you're uncomfortable contacting them directly, feel free to email me. 24/7 is, it really is a recruiter for the creative arts, and they do focus on retail as well. So if you already have experience, say an allocator or an assistant designer, you could sign up with them. It does not cost you anything, but the company that hires you will pay. And these would be short-term contract work. But it's a great way to get in the door. You might be taking over a maternity leave, a medical leave. And then I've also listed Dress for Success, which is a great, we used to have interns help out there before COVID, but now they're kind of like starting up again. But it's a great way to empower women who are maybe restarting the workforce or maybe need some support. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing and welcome Rachel Fishbaum of Fashion Incubators.
Thanks, Priscilla. I'm so delighted to be with all of you, and I'm sorry we have to do this remote. We often have CCSF students come over to the incubator. I'm going to give you a brief little visual tour and explanation of what we do. And then I'm going to give kind of some trends that we're seeing in the industry. I know we have a industry update going on, but the reason is then I will share a little bit about some kind of hot jobs we're seeing right now, things that we get requests in terms of people that are looking for entry-level positions, wondering if we know anybody who has this kind of skill set. And so I wanted to bring those to your attention if you're out there in the job market or even thinking about additional education beyond CCSF after you graduate, some areas to think about specializing in that are hot for the market right now. So the Fashion Incubator, San Francisco, we're housed inside of Bloomingdale's in downtown San Francisco. We've been around for 10 years. We have a studio space as well as a seminar room. And we are typically, so this is kind of the space and what it looks like. So it's a creative space, kind of a working facility. We have designers who are running their businesses out of there, and then we do workshops and events in the evening. We have people coming to the incubator at all different stages of their professional careers. While the designers in residence are entrepreneurs, we do have a lot of people who are fashion professionals coming to the space as well to network, to work with each other. We often do see people getting hired and referred to each other coming to our events. So if you are looking for a place to network, please sign up for our newsletter so you'll know when we are doing events, and we are planning on doing a few things for holiday. So as a brief mention, there's the designer in residency program. If any of you are thinking about starting your own line, we take brands who we start to see have some success, a little bit of establishment. We don't take them right when they've started their line. But once we've seen a couple of years of growth, we see some maturity, we work with them to bring their brands to the next level. We're working with them for 6 months to a year and a half. It is with mentors who are from a lot of the bigger brands in the Bay Area fashion industry, helping them, and they're scaling their businesses inside of our facilities. We do also offer mini grants, which is a new thing that we've started in 2020. So we've had some mini grant winners who are essentially receiving some cash from us, as well as some opportunities like to be featured in photo shoots. And it's been a lot of fun. It's been a way to help some early stage businesses that aren't quite yet ready for our designer in residency program, but it helps us give them a little bit of a push. We are doing a digital magazine, and this digital magazine is fully done photo shoots. They're done in the Bay Area, typically in San Francisco, and they're featuring local, just getting started models, new stylists, and often younger brands as well. And so if you feel like you fit in one of those categories, you want to work on photo shoots, you're working on becoming a model, we do look for new talent as well. So I wanted to mention a few major trends in the industries that we are seeing popping up in our designers in residency, as well as some of the bigger companies that we've been working with. So one thing to think about is mobile shopping, social commerce. I just was looking at the statistics, and we're now spending 30% more time on our phones than we were in 2019. And I think, that's just because so much of our lives is digital, social, all of our socializing is happening online. So how are we building commerce into that? And interestingly enough, we're seeing a lot of social media advertising fatigue and ethical concerns around social media advertising, particularly with Facebook, Instagram, privacy issues. And so a lot of our brands are asking us about alternative ways of building community, of meeting new customers. I was just at a retail salon earlier today, and everybody was talking about how do direct-to-consumer brands authentically connect with customers and get thought about for a sale that does not include social media advertising, particularly paid social, because they're trying to keep money out of the pockets of Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at this point. Other things to think about is personalized shopping, digital and physical payments. So what are the ways that we can have people buying things online, either in the digital world or physical world, that feels tailored to them, that they feel like they have a relationship with somebody who's a stylist, a personal shopper, that they can connect with, and that they know is picking out products recommended for their lifestyle. Another thing I want to mention is, while there's been a huge discussion about sustainability in the fashion industry, and I'm so happy that we are continuing more and more about innovation, fast fashion is continuing to grow. So do keep that in mind as you're looking for employment, that fast fashion is still very present, happening internationally. And so thinking about, okay, if sustainability or slow fashion is on your mind, what's happening in the fast fashion industry? How do you disrupt something like that? Or what are the ways that you can kind of put your spin on what fast fashion means? Some ways that we're seeing it is with circularity and resale, saying, okay, people do want new garments all the time in their wardrobes. How can we reuse those materials or find new homes for those products? So why I'm bringing some of these up is I just wanted to have you think about roles that you can get into at an entry level that are really hot right now. So there's a term called ESG. That is basically an acronym for environmental, social, and corporate governance. So there are a lot of companies right now thinking about their impact on the environment, thinking about social justice and how they are impacting their communities, and corporate governance, thinking about, how are they regulated? What are they doing in terms of contributing to the economy as well. One other thing to be thinking about is your supply chains, manufacturing, material innovations. So material innovations, we're seeing it in two ways. One is sustainability, as we mentioned before. The other is thinking about climate change, harsh conditions. So thinking about materials that people might be wearing in space, jackets that are indestructible, things that might be fireproof, things that might help you with inclement air conditions. So thinking about these kind of things as new places for material innovations. And then of course, as we know right now, supply chains are being totally disrupted because of COVID. So I know a lot of brands right now are looking for people who can help them restructure their supply chains and how they're manufacturing in a way that can be resilient to these type of disruptions going forward, because we're expecting that these type of issues are going to continue. And with that is inventory management. I think 2020, a lot of retailers got caught off guard with excess inventory when consumer spend went down. So thinking about, what are new ways to repurpose inventory, to find new homes for inventory, new retail channels, refreshing and reviving inventory to keep up with trends. In a separate section, thinking about it, if you are interested in more the marketing, media, creativity side, CGI artistry, so that's computer generated imagery artistry is really hot right now. Gaming, NFTs, thinking about, what are ways that we can make computer generated imagery. We even saw it with photo shoots with COVID, because getting a whole team together, it can be often costly, difficult, and of course with COVID, thinking about kind of protecting everybody, that we saw a lot more kind of computer generated imagery to keep it simple. So thinking about, is that something that's of interest to you? General content creation, a lot of our brands are talking about sort of how are they media companies as well as product-based companies, because you're constantly pumping out new things like newsletters, social media, videos, tutorials. What are all the different ways that you're creating content to connect with your consumers that's different than the way traditional retail was, which was brick and mortar? And finally, licensing and partnerships is kind of in this section too. So I wanted to bring up like Bagley Mishka and COVID Fashion being a video game with Bagley Mishka. So people are dressing their avatars and then they're buying the real products online. We're seeing a lot more of these kind of digital plays with real products. Also, in the top left hand, Stella McCartney with Adidas, so using Stella McCartney sustainable apparel with Adidas for sportswear. And with all of this, there is a lot of data analytics. We are collecting so much information about our customers now, watching how their heat maps on websites, thinking about how many people are opening up their newsletters, and also receiving a lot of feedback. There's a lot more opportunities for interaction with customers online. So not only just collecting the data, but thinking about analyzing it in a meaningful way. And then of course, doing research projects too, to see what your competitors are doing or other companies that you're inspired by. And finally, customer experience and relationships. So what are the ways that you can continue to build lifetime relationships with your customers? So while they might come in for one product, you can continue to serve them throughout their, basically that stage of their lives. I just wanted to mention, because we do have small brands at the incubator, one of the unique reasons why you might want to consider working with small brands, like the brands who are currently in the incubator or who have recently become alumni, is your opportunity to have wide scope experience. Many of our brands have just a few employees, so you have an opportunity to wear many hats, to have new roles. You're really part of the ground floor team. And so when you're working for a larger company, you don't get that chance necessarily. You're kind of siloed into one specific role because there's many people doing lots of specific roles. But when you're working for a small company, you often get to have a wide scope of the projects that you're working on. There's also a lot of benefits to interfacing with founders. So you have a chance to learn sort of how they started their business, what is their mindset for entrepreneurialism, how are they thinking about problem solving with their businesses. And a lot of the problems that founders in small brands are facing are the same problems that founders are facing in larger companies. So to get that experience at the entry level and then to go to a bigger company with that can be super valuable. Another thing that's fun about small brands is you can be experimental, you can pivot quickly because you don't have a huge company that you're trying to change to get it all into a different trajectory. So that can be a lot of fun. And often you get a lot of independence because there's only a few employees. So everybody's sort of tasked to get their work done and kind of given them some freedom to do that. And finally, I think, the personal connection to the brand success, because if you're in the earlier stages of the business, you really get to watch it grow and turn into something. And that can be very rewarding because you get an opportunity to see what you're building and how you're contributing create a real difference. So with that, I will stop sharing. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask me.
Rachel, Claire Harper, the Labo, we had a couple of interns work with her.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh,
yeah,
great.
they learned so much from her, and she really is also a mentor. She took another student under her wing, not even working as an intern, but just wanted to help guide her through the process. She's been
That's
fabulous.
Wonderful. Yeah, she applied to one of our grants, and we thought, oh, here's somebody who, with just a little funding, a little help, I think her brand will be a success for sure.
Yeah, that's very exciting. Anybody have any questions?
We have a question, Laura. Let's see.
Hi, I want to know, how do you get internship if you haven't taken a sewing class? I take my sewing class next semester.
Yeah, so there's lots of different ways you can work with our designers. We have one student from CCSF that Priscilla connected with one of our brands who's helping with a research project on finding new retailers. So she's trying to find more boutiques that would be the right fit for her brand. The intern is helping to research them. So there's plenty of ways you can get involved that doesn't include sewing. In fact, most of our interns are not doing cut and sew work with the designers. It's often, marketing or video editing or some kind of research project, helping them out in a way that that's a little less, I would say, repetitive and more, we always try to make sure that they're an educational opportunity and kind of a skill set development opportunity.
Okay, thank you, I understand. Thank you for informing me.
Anyone else? Well, Rachel, you're just so thorough. They have no questions.
I jammed a lot of information in there.
No, it was really good. That's why it's important to record it. There's obviously a lot of students that can't make it today due to midterms. So we definitely will share all the information.
All right.
Okay, so I'm going to continue to share my screen. Okay, so we talked about external fashion resources. This next slide is kind of a cheat sheet that we got from 24/7. It gives you interview tips and resume tips and so on and so forth. Obviously, Aria is the expert, but this is something that you could just keep handy. And this is state of the fashion landscape. And this touches on a lot of things that Rachel already talked about. So I'm just going to go through it very briefly. Job seeker market, everywhere you turn, they're hiring. Now, I always get students tell me, well, I really don't want to work in a store, but I want to do this job or that job. Working in the store at ground zero is really a great way to build a foundation, because then you get to understand the store operations, the customer service. And if you work in a flagship store, you might even meet corporate personnel. So don't, disregard that if you see hiring at places that maybe it's not where your future career goal is, but you're getting your foot in the door. Sustainability, obviously, environmental sustainability, Companies are looking for ways to look at carbon emissions, water management, waste management, climate change, and so forth. Levi's is obviously a big proponent of this, of all the things they're doing. Omnichannel, it basically is integration among all touch points. And when I say integration, it's seamless. So you technically can order online, pick up in the store. In the past, when I used to work at Forever 21, our sales would be very different at store versus the e-commerce, and customers were very confused. So you're going to see more of collaboration between the two. Digital marketing, social platforms. Obviously, you can shop anywhere now. To Rachel's point, people are spending 30% more time on their phone and probably a lot more. So that is something that's at the forefront. Secondhand obviously ties into sustainability. So it's secondhand markets, it's resale, they're reimagining how the outfit can look like. You're recycling, upcycle, repair. You know that Levi's, if you bring back a pair of Levi denim that needs repair, they will do it for free at the Market Street location. Maybe a button's missing, maybe you want it shortened. So just remember that. Social issues, community involvement, labor practices, human rights, community diversity, health and safety, all that is very important now. Art and science, when we were buyers way back when, it was a very creative process with a little bit of data. Now data is so enormous. So there's so much that we could get because everyone's buying online that these AI, these machine learning can tell us everything and anything, which will make the whole customer service level increase because companies will know exactly what their customer wants. When they're on their website, how long does it take for them to click and buy something? So all that is art and science. Stores are still going to be around, but customers are going to be looking for immersive experience. It's going to be customer engagement. So everything ties into one another in terms of let's make it fun for the customer. And supply chain challenges, you've read it everywhere. And this is real. It's not just in the States, it's global. And one example is one of my friends, Jenny Ming, spoke at my buying class yesterday. And Erica, you were there, and she started Old Navy, okay? And she's on every board imaginable. And she was explaining us the whole supply chain. And one of the things that we don't take into account is you see those big containers, right, sitting outside the ports. Well, they leave Asia, they leave, all these other countries to bring goods here. But when there's a halt in production, what do we have to fill the containers to go back to Asia? And where those containers were like $3,000, now they're like $20,000. So with time, it will work itself out, but probably not until next year. So you've heard on television and everywhere else, make sure you shop early. I saw a hand up. Lee, did you have a question?
Yeah, I wanted to backtrack real quick.
Yeah.
Something that kind of stood out to me that I'm not too sure about the correlation.
Yeah.
I guess I don't even know how to really phrase this, I'm sorry. But I know before, Rachel, when you were speaking, you mentioned social justice as far as like community involvement and those type of positions that are offered. How does that have any type of like, I guess, relevancy or like really a stigma that stands out for positions in like the fashion community? I guess that's something that's new to me, or I may not have an understanding of how that correlates so much, but is that something that's new in today's time or?
Yeah, it's a great question. One thing I would say is for a long time, the fashion industry has been so much about these kind of closed off, it's who in the, it's often communities who are already interfacing with each other. And so these were often very wealthy communities of privilege who would be kind of going to the person that they knew socially or kind of in the same sort of stratosphere, right? And they would be working with each other and not really thinking about like, okay, how do we give opportunities or kind of find people who might be talent that's outside of our kind of our immediate network. So for example, you know, there's a lot of places that will, you know, they go to, you know, a private boarding school, they then go to an Ivy League college, and then they hire their friends who also had a lot of privilege to get to a certain status, right? And so the idea is saying, okay, how do we make sure that we're recruiting talent and finding people who can contribute to our company and be more thoughtful about the network that we're bringing into our recruiting practices. And the other thing too is we actually see it with a lot of retailers as well. So you might have seen there was this program initiative called the 15% Pledge, and that was the idea that that there are 15% of America is Black, and so how do we make sure that the retailers are buying products from a representative population? And so those are companies that are primarily Black owned. And so it's thinking about it that way. So sort of like, how do we make sure that we're not just the people who are already in kind of these positions of privilege, and also kind of these sort of more powerful, established, bigger brands are not just continuing to hire their friends and from their network, but to think expansively about finding talent that really does contribute and is actually bringing innovative ideas and connections because they're from a different community than sort of the old guard, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I definitely understand a lot better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to our work experience program, and these are our internships, and there's 4 of them. So the first one here in green is fieldwork fashion merchandising. What is that? That is when students, interns, assist at fashion events. It could be a fashion show, it could be a charity event, it could be a pop-up store. But the bottom line is it allows you to get exposure to industry leaders. You might meet a photographer, you might meet a designer. You know, it's a way to make connections. It's only 60 hours for the entire semester. So it's 1 unit and it's pass or fail. So obviously during COVID, we didn't have any events. And this past few months, things have opened up again. I've had one event at Saks where it was Oscar de la Renta show in Tahoe. And we had interns go up there to assist and style and be dressers, and we had 2 Neiman Marcus events as well. And some of these are paid, right? So you start off maybe with a few unpaid events, and as you get experience, they will pay you like a gift card. And this is not a structured schedule. This only occurs when an event is happening. So the people that are my contacts, the event organizers, will contact me and let me know what they need, when it is, and I will let the students know. So this really is a lot of fun. The next 3 are all similar in terms of requirements, and I'll discuss that later, but I just want to tell you what the difference is. This first one is merchandising and marketing. So you might work in a retail store or a buying office, or you might work in the back office at headquarters. You might be a visual merchandiser. So this really gives you a chance to work in a store for the most part and get to know the customer, the operations. The marketing piece is digital marketing, and you could help with a client's social media account, a website. Some of these clients are startups. So when we had an intern with Claire Harper, she just started. So that was really beneficial for the intern because she was learning everything at the same time Claire was setting it up. Now, if you work for someone that's a little bit more established, like our own Jill, she is an instructor here, Jill Giordano, you might be doing something else for her, but that is Fashion 61, and the requirement is 120 hours, which is 2 units for the semester. We move on to work experience styling, and this styling could be styling for a photo shoot. It could be styling models. It could be styling on your own. Someone maybe wanting to go to a special event, and they're styling courses. I know Kelly has one. Natalie has a different one. So this one is 120 hours, same thing, 2 units. Third one is the fashion design and product development. This is where you would work with a local designer, maybe as a sewer, maybe, you know, helping them with their social media. I've had interns at Decades of Fashion, which is a vintage store, if you will, in Haight-Ashbury, and she really does have decades and decades of fashion in her store. And I've had interns go and help sew hats and make it different, maybe restyling it. So it just depends on what their needs are and what you're looking for. And let's go back here. And these were some of the companies that we worked with in the past. And keep in mind that these companies change every semester. Some are the same, but it depends on what their needs are, right? So I've had people at Liliana Boutique, Crossroads is always hiring. Designing a difference than have anybody for a year and a half and they're back again. Fashion Community Week occurs twice a year, and people help out there as well. Everlane, I had someone there about a year and a half ago, and because of COVID, they had strict guidelines, right, as to the capacity level. So hopefully in spring you'll open up again. This last slide is just in a nutshell what the process is at a very high level. I don't meet with you other than the mandatory class meetings. The entire time you are working on site or remotely for this company. Now it can be paid, it can be unpaid. We just ask that the employers, if it's unpaid, provide transportation fees, gas money, parking money. And at some point at the end of your internship, they may give you a stipend. You should also search for your own internships. One of the things that they always tell me to remind you of, we cannot guarantee an internship. We will do everything we can between all our internal partners to help you get there. But you should definitely look on your own as well. And you will also be evaluating the internships. So it's not just the employer evaluating you, but you need to share with me what worked, what didn't work, what needs improvement, so that next semester, if they're asking to work with one of our interns, we definitely can discuss all the processes for improvement. So with that, does anybody have any questions? Stop sharing. Okay.
Great, Priscilla, it's Laura.
Yeah.
I have a question. How do I get in contact with Rachel? That's her name, for the Fashion Incubator?
Oh, I'd be
Rachel.
happy, Laura, to send you, I'll put in the chat my email. Any of you are welcome to email me and ask me any questions you'd like. You know, no problem. If there's anything that you're curious about, the industry or our events or internships with our designers, we also take interns at the incubator as well for various projects. So please feel welcome to email me anytime.
Do you take students who I'm a really good student, so if I can't get the internship, I can come in and volunteer and learn as I be there. Is that a good opportunity there?
Yes. So you know, anytime that there's events going on, you're welcome. Most of our events have been happening online right now. Just email me if you're interested in coming. I'll make sure you get a free ticket for you to attend. We are planning on having a holiday pop-up event and a kind of a socializing event as well. If that's something you'd like to volunteer to get to know the designers, to see kind of just to talk to them and learn about their experiences building a brand, you're welcome to attend that too. But yeah, I'll send you my email, and then I would recommend signing up for our newsletter so you know what's going on, and then you can always email me and say, hey, how can I get involved with this event?
Thank you.
Perfect. Any other questions? Okay, Aria, it's all yours.
All right, well, first and foremost, let's give a round of applause to Rachel for spending some time with us today. We really appreciate that and appreciate you. We've been very busy. And of course, a big round of applause for Priscilla for sharing with us all the various resources that we got going on. And I also want to take a moment to say hello to all our new people who just showed up: Eugenia, Margot, Mariam, Devin, Mark, and Siwoo. I forget your name. I'm so sorry. I'm just going with based on what I see. But I just wanted to say welcome. Hope you're having a great time. We are recording this. And so now we are going to start transitioning to a little workshop that I like to call How to Answer the Question, Tell Me About Yourself. How many of you at any point in your life have ever been asked this question by a show of hands? How many people love answering this question? Nobody. Exactly. I love it. Or maybe Devin does. Devin, you're clapping. So that's tight. I love it.
No.
Oh, no. Taking it back. Okay. So it is my intention and manifestation that today I'm going to try to provide you with a process to answer this question in a way that'll bring you some ease and then also allow you to connect with whoever is asking this question of you, okay? And so with that said, I seem to have closed it for some reason. Oh man, I'm gonna have this like dramatic entry and everything. Ugh. Boo. All right. There we go. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to answering the question, tell me about yourself. So as mentioned before, if at any point during this conversation, and I would love for it to be a conversation, please raise your hand and I'll ask you to unmute yourself and ask your question, okay? I don't wanna just sit here and just chitter chatter for however many minutes I'm gonna be chitter chattering for, okay? So when you get this question, tell me about yourself, it's gonna show up in two places. Either it will be in a networking situation, so maybe you're at one of Rachel's fantastic events, or Priscilla and Kelly have told you to go somewhere and check it out, and you meet someone and they want to know a little bit about you and they ask you, tell me about yourself. The second place where this might show up is in a job interview. And because we are, and I'm gonna get real with y'all, celestial, cosmic, fantastic, beautiful, complex beings of light, trying to explain who we are to another fantastic, beautiful, complex, beautiful being of light creates mischief. And so I want to let you know that if you have trouble answering this question, you are not alone. And so I just invite you to think of your pitch as if it is your commercial. By the way, can everybody see the image okay? Or would you like me to chat the image in the box? So if you want to open it up at home, you can. Does anybody want that? If so, just raise your hand and I'll be more than happy to do so. Okay, cool. So think of your pitch as your commercial, okay? You have 60 seconds or so, and it has two parts. It has a business section, which happens in front, and then a party section, which happens in back. And for those of you who know, business in front, party in the back means the mullet. And the mullet is this very interesting, and I'll put that in air quotes, haircut that emerged from the 70s, the 80s. I don't even know when it and where it showed up. But the haircut is short in front, that means business, and long in the back, which means party. So this is the first step I want you to remember when you are trying to answer this question, tell me about yourself. Just remember the mullet, business in front, party in the back. The business section is short, sweet, and to the point. It is literally your name, what you are. So this is your job goal or the job you're interviewing for, and tools that you use in the job. So it is your name, what you are, your job goal. So what the job you're interviewing for or what you're striving to be, and the tools you use in your job. And sometimes people ask, well, what kind of tools should I be talking about? And I think it can really be a wide variety of things. It could be technical tools. So that could be hardware. So that could be sewing machines, for example, if you have a favorite one. It could be software. So Adobe Illustrator, Gerber, things like that. And it can also be interpersonal skills. So those are things like active listening or asking good questions or being proactive. Any tool that you find in your arsenal, something that you find is powerful and helpful for you, I invite you to include. So again, the business section is short and sweet and to the point. It is your name, what you are, your job goal, and the tools you use. So it might sound something like this. Aria, tell us about yourself. Absolutely. Hi, my name is Aria Zarenkok, and I am I'm going to say pattern maker. And I use my attention to detail, Gerber software, and active listening to do my work. Short, sweet, to the point, right? And that is just the first half of the pitch. Does anybody have any questions about the business section? Yes, Laura, please unmute yourself. Almost. There you go. Yes.
Can I try it? Can I give it a try?
Oh, I love that enthusiasm. I want to let everyone take a moment to write this part down, and then I'm gonna ask people to share. And I know that you want to share, so we'll have you share first. Does that sound good?
Cool.
Cool. Okay, so let's take 3 minutes to write the business section of your pitch, your name, what you are, and tools that you use. Okay, it is 5:50. We're gonna come back in 3 minutes. Ready? Go. And I will also say if you finish under the 3 minutes, just give me the virtual thumbs up, and then I'll know that you're ready. I see Laura's ready. Wonderful. Let's take about 1 more minute. 1 more minute. And if you're ready, go ahead and just give me the thumbs ups. All right, we are at the 3-minute mark. Thank you so much. So, Laura Johnson, with that fantastic enthusiasm, I would love for you to share with us the business section of your pitch. Go for it.
Okay. Hi, my name is Laura Johnson. If I was hired, I would use my inventory skills to show professionalism in your company. I am good at asking questions.
Excellent. Excellent. Let's give Laura a round of applause for that positive risk. I love that. Laura,
Good job, Laura.
that's excellent. And the one thing I just would remind you is tell us what you are. You're a sales associate, right? Retail associate. That's what you're looking for, right?
Yes.
So remember, my name is Laura Johnson. I'm a retail sales associate, and then exactly what you just said. That's excellent.
Okay.
Excellent. Who else would be willing to take a positive risk and share their business section with the studio audience? All right, let's give it up for Mariam. Woo!
All right. Good for you.
Please unmute yourself and give us the business section of your pitch.
Hi, my name is Miriam Rebecca. I am currently a fashion merchandising student at CCSF, and some of the tools I use are the internet, Photoshop, Illustrator, Microsoft Office, Outlook, and social media. And I am good at researching.
All right, excellent. Let's give it up for Mariam. Thank you so much for taking that positive risk. Okay, Mariam, things that I thought were effective are, I know your name, I heard your name. I know that you have a variety of tools that you use. And this is where you actually illustrate something really interesting. You are in school for something, and I would actually invite you to say, instead of saying I'm a student and learning fashion merchandising, I invite you to consider saying I'm an aspiring fashion merchandiser, right? Because you're already taking the steps now and you're learning the skill sets to do the work. And eventually someone somewhere is going to say yes to you, either in an internship capacity, a contract role capacity, and then you'll become that thing. So I just want to remind you all that learning the tools and the skills to do the thing you want to do, and as soon as you start doing that work, even if it's for free or for practice, you become that. For example, it took me a very long time to register in my brain that I am a musician, even though I haven't really officially been paid money or have a record label to play music, right? But the fact that I sit and I play bass at home and practice makes me a musician. Excellent, Mariam. Thank you so much. Excellent.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Okay, does anybody have any questions about how to do the business section before we move on to the party section?
No,
Oh, yes. Tamara or Tamara.
Tamara. So as far as what we put under I use, is it more of like our skill sets or adjectives?
Well, why don't you tell me what you got and we'll see. Let's see.
I put my name is Tamara Lee and I am an aspiring stylist. I
Woo.
use my creativity, color play, and tomboy aura to tell a story through clothing.
Yeah, that's great. That's like unique and special. I love it. I love that tomboy aura piece too. Oh yeah, that's like, I want y'all to have so much fun with all this stuff, because if you're having fun and you're feeling confident, that energy is going to emanate outwards and people are going to be like, oh wow, Tamara, I like Tamara. Let's bring Tamara on for this gig, right? That's excellent.
Thank
That
you.
was great. You did a great job. That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Oh, excellent question. Cool. Okay, so if remembering the pitch is going to show up either in a networking or an interviewing situation, you're remembering that it's your 60-second commercial and you're thinking that, okay, I got to do business in front, party in the back, which is the mullet. And the business section is short, sweet, and to the point, which is your name, what you are, your job goal, and the tools you use. We now shift to part 2. And part 2 is the party section. And the entire intention and manifestation of the party section is to build empathy with the listener. Build empathy with the listener. And when I say empathy, I literally just mean remind the listener that at some point in their lives, they have been you. Right now, a lot of you are at the first step and the first stage of your job search career process. And a lot of people you will be talking to, either in an interview or in a networking situation, have been at that first step. So you're going to use stories to help connect with them. And so the party section has 3 parts. It has a past, a present, and a future. The past section is where you get to tell the listener what was a moment or a series of moments that put you on this path to doing fashion work. So what was the moment or a series of moments that put you on this path to do fashion work? So an example for me and music and creativity might sound like this. When I was 7 years old, I will never forget being in my mom's 1989 Honda Civic hatchback, and we're driving down Culver Drive in Irvine, California, the most sterile place on earth, suburbia, USA. And all of a sudden, Michael Jackson's Beat It comes on the radio. And it's as if I have been electrified and my body is just moving and dancing. I'm wiggling around in my car seat. Even though my feet can't even touch the ground, I'm just completely and utterly moved by this music and by this song. And it was in that moment that I knew I wanted to do something related to the arts and creativity, right? So we all have this kind of experience or story underneath our belts or our hats. And if I may, I would love to know, just because, I have you now, Miss Kelly Armstrong, and I'm going to ask you this in like 2 weeks anyway, in front of a larger group, but I would love to know, what was like one of the moments that led you to this path of fashion? So the students can hear an example.
It is really funny that you talked about being 5 years old. I was 7, or no, I was actually like 9, 10-ish probably when I got my first Barbie doll. And this was in the 60s. And that's when the Barbie doll fashion was so beautiful, where they actually used real fur on the clothes.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with fashion because of my Barbie doll. And I knew somehow I had to be a part of it. I taught myself how to sew when I was in 10th grade in high school.
Wow. Awesome.
Learned how to sew, taught myself to sew, and I have been sewing ever since. And then here I am teaching sewing and doing that kind of stuff here in the fashion department. So it's just that whole evolution of that Barbie doll taking me all the way to here. And then, even like with you in the music business, I'm also in the music business. I thought I was Diana Ross growing up. I just knew I had to be a singer. But then, of course, as I got older, I realized I needed to be on the back end. So now I'm doing artist management. So the real truth is that you don't have to just do one thing. I'm in 3 industries: food, fashion, and music. But it's all entertainment. And it all started from a very, very young age.
I love it. Thank you so much, Ms. Kelly Armstrong. I really appreciate that.
I didn't mean to get so long-winded, but
No. And in fact, you illustrate that this, y'all, is the most important part of the pitch. And this is where you are actually allowed and invited to go a little bit longer. Give the little details. Did you see the way Ms. Kelly Armstrong told that story, talking about the Barbie and the fur, the clothes, and it was the 60s, right? That's like exactly what I want. And now, of course, I want to hear from Ms. Priscilla Fong. What was one of her moments that led her to the fashion world?
I would say what led me was one of my favorite all-time shows is That Girl with Marlo Thomas.
yes.
And every show, her out, even though she was a starving actress, somehow she had the money to have all these designer clothes, and she always looked impeccable. And from that point on, I said, you know, I'm going to do what it takes to either go into the business or be a fashion designer. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. Then I realized that I wasn't a good illustrator. And that's when I moved over to the merchandising side of it. And I actually majored in clothing and textiles at State. So I love this industry in every facet of the retail industry. You have to have a passion for what you do. It's really, really
Absolutely.
important.
Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Priscilla, for sharing that. Let's give a round of applause for Kelly. Miss Kelly Armstrong and Miss Priscilla Fong sharing that. That's the positive risk that I'm talking about. And I threw in some things in the chat if you want to get some context around what Priscilla Fong was talking about. But you can see when they tell this story, I'm watching you, all your faces, you start smiling, you start connecting, right? I'm sure the majority of you weren't even born when this TV show was on, but it doesn't matter.
Right.
This is that.
And oh, by the way, I saw it in reruns.
Ah, okay, excellent, excellent. Giving us very
She's
good.
trying not to. She's making sure she doesn't date herself. I love it.
Yes.
It's on now.
Exactly.
Is it?
Yeah,
You could.
you can watch it on Prime.
I
Anyway,
love it.
that's neither
I
here
love
nor
it.
there. Trying to stay focused. These are the types of stories that I want y'all to be thinking about, okay? So now, let's take 6 minutes, okay? So I'm doubling the time from the first. Let's take 6 minutes, and I want you to spend maybe 2 of those minutes just thinking and reflecting, and then take the remaining 4 and write out quickly what was a moment or a series of moments that led you to this path of fashion. Okay, so we're going to take 6 minutes at 6:05. We're going to come back at 6:11. 2 minutes of sitting in reflection, 4 minutes of writing. Okay, go for it. About 4 more minutes. You should have now transitioned to writing your story out.
Okay, I finished.
What was that, Eugenia?
I said I finished that statement. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Wonderful. Thank you for letting me know. It's got about 2 more minutes, 2 more minutes. Okay, 1 more minute. All right, it is now 6:11. So we're coming back after 6 minutes of good, high quality work. Really appreciate all that heads down. And Eugenia, since you were the first to finish, I would love for you, if you'd be willing, please, to take a positive risk and share with the group what was a moment or a series of moments that brought you to fashion. Please unmute yourself.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, I was a graphic designer all my professional life, for 40 years. And then I decided my way to fashion was kind of skewed because I got to City College to learn fine arts. But in the program, there was a class which is weaving with Jane Sullivan. And I took that class and I found out the world behind the fashion business, the fashion in general. And I got so interested about it that I got into it. And here I am, still learning more on fashion and being happy about it.
Yay, let's give it up for Eugenia for taking that positive risk and sharing that story. Eugenia, I love it. It not only demonstrates that nothing in life is linear, right?
No.
It just like everything kind of just bounces around in a crazy, weird way. I also really love how you came to City College learn something not completely different, but something in what's traditionally considered a fine art. And then you took a weaving class, and then that brought you
It was
so
beautiful.
yeah, that's really beautiful. The warp and weft of the way things just intertwine, right? See what I
Yeah.
did there? See what I did there, Eugenia? Okay. Anyway, so if I were to give you a little bit of feedback, maybe it could sound something like this. Hi, my name is Eugenia, and I'm a fashion designer, and I use my fine arts background, attention to detail, and my understanding of body types to make excellent, excellent designs. I got started on this path when I actually wanted to study fine arts. And so I took a weaving class, and through this process of weaving, I really started making me gravitate more towards clothing and the way clothing is made. And that's what put me on this path of fashion. So,
All right. Thank you.
yeah, my pleasure. Let's give it up again for Eugenia. Positive risk. I love it.
Thank you.
Okay. Who else that we haven't heard from yet would be willing to take a positive risk and share with us their story? I would like to hear from Nelsie. Nelsie, please.
Hello, everyone. Well, my name is Nelsie, and my fashion love started when I was a little girl. Also, I was in my country, and my sister used to make me my clothes. She was a designer herself in my country, so she would make me my clothes to wear like 2 different outfits in a day. And there was a a place where you can buy your magazines right next door to my house, like a little box, kind of like a little house made out of, and they have all candy and everything. So I would love to just go over there and look at the fashion. I was obsessed over fashion. And that always, my mom used to send me clothes, and that's how I started. And then as I grew up, I still love fashion, but I wanted to learn more. And I went to City College of San Francisco. I was actually going to major in computers and computer science. And I took a fashion class, and I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And I didn't know exactly what. So what I realized, I ended up doing my internship at Neiman Marcus for 2 years, and I love fashion shows. So I ended up actually trying to do a freelance fashion, not fashion, modeling agency. And I needed more than just the knowledge. And I did it for 2 years, got like 200 models and everything like that. But I needed more. I wasn't prepared to just be doing things for free, and I didn't know the business side. So I stopped doing that. And then I ended up doing styling, clothes mostly. And I love doing that. So right now I'm just working for Nordstrom, and I'm going to be styling. And I just love doing that. It makes me very happy. And there goes my pitch.
Okay, yay! Thank you, Nelsie. So Nelsie, if I may, I would love to ask you some questions, if that's okay.
Sure.
You said my country. What country is that?
I'm from Honduras.
Honduras, okay.
I was born in Honduras, but raised in San Francisco.
Okay, born in Honduras, raised in San Francisco. And then can you describe a little bit for us, like the types of clothes your sister would make for you? Like what would be like a typical morning outfit, and then like an afternoon, evening outfit? Like what would it look like?
Well, she loved being classic in anything that was popular, like from wearing the high boots to, like in the 60s, peace and love, to wearing gowns. She would put me in a lot of really unique little pieces. And I have so many pictures of that, but it's very like 70s clothing. And she used to put me in fashion shows.
Oh, wow.
And it used to be a lot of fun.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was like all different types, and she used to make everything besides the clothes that used to get from my mom from the United States.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm asking this question is I would love for you in your story part is to really focus on your kind of the nascent beginning of all this, which was when your sister was making you clothing, and also when you go to the colmado or the bodega next to your house and you would look at all the other clothes and things like that. That's where I think the real essence of the story is. And it might sound something like this. It might be, I got started on this path when growing up in Honduras, my older sister would make my clothes for me. Sometimes where I would have a different two different outfits a day, you know, and have an outfit for the morning to the afternoon, and I have an outfit in the evening. And when I say make outfits, I'm not talking about just very simple shirt and dress. I'm talking about classic 60s and 70s outfits, from knee-high boots to gowns to you name it. I was in fashion shows. And for me, that is what put me on this path to fashion.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
All right. Thank
Cool.
you.
No, thank you. That was great.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, it's 6:20. I want to be mindful of time, but I would love to know, does anybody have any questions about the past section of this second party? Are we all feeling really like complete and getting a sense of how to tell this part of the story? This is like the time to really like kind of have fun and share. Okay, awesome. Awesome. All right, so we've given them the business section, which is short and sweet to the point, which is your name, your job goal, and your tools. And then you've started hitting them with the story about your past and what put you onto this path. And now we come to the present. And the present's really important because you want to communicate to people you're either networking with or that you are doing a job search, you're in an interview, that you are taking action. You're not just being passive, you're being proactive, right? And literally, I invite you to use this exact phrase. Currently, I'm working on my technical skills, portfolio, and doing research to learn more. Literally, this exact words of currently, I'm working on my technical skills, portfolio, and doing research to learn more. And what I find is really powerful about this is that you're telling the truth about what you're doing. You're working on your technical skills, which is classes at City College. You are working on a portfolio, so usually a website that demonstrates your technical competencies, a body of your work. And then doing research to learn more. And that can be either online research, you're going to be doing some networking to conduct informational interviews, right? You will not give the listener all this information. You will not give them, oh, I am taking classes at City College. You just literally say, currently I'm working on my technical skills, portfolio, and doing research to learn more. And if they ask, oh, what are you doing to strengthen your technical skills? Then you say, oh, I'm taking these awesome classes at City College. They are an amazing, amazing fashion department, which by the way, you should check out, right? Or if they say, what are you doing to do research to learn more? You can say, oh, I'm networking, I'm doing informational interviews, I'm connecting with subject matter experts. I talked to Rachel at the Fashion Incubator of San Francisco, really helpful, wonderful person. You know, when we are in the job search, sometimes in the resumes and the cover letters and in interviews, we feel like we need to give everything when that is not always true, especially in the pitch. You want to give people just enough that they're intrigued to want to learn more and come talk to you, okay? So that's the present. Does anybody have any questions about the present section?
Not really.
Okay. Feeling good? Feeling complete? Okay, awesome. And then lastly, we have the future. And the future is where you are going to remind the listener that they are part of your path right here in this present moment. You ground them. You've taken them a little bit into your past. You've shared them with what you're currently doing. And now you're bringing them right here in front of you. And all you have to literally say is, that's why I'm excited to be here because, and then you have to pause and think, am I in a networking situation or am I in a job interview? Am I in a networking situation or am I in a job interview? Because the way you finish the sentence is going to change based on whether or not you're in a networking situation or a job interview. If you are in a networking situation, the sentence is, that's why I'm excited to be here because you're helping me learn. So if you're in a networking situation, you're going to say, that's why I'm excited to be here because you're helping me learn. If you are in a job interview, I invite you to say, that's why I'm excited to be here because this would be the next step for me. If you were in a job interview, you would say, that's why I'm excited to be here because this would be the next step for me. So no matter what, the future section is always going to start with, that's why I'm excited to be here because blank. And then you have to take a moment and think, okay, is this job interview? Is this a networking? And then complete the sentence appropriately. If you are in a networking situation, it would be, that's why I'm excited to be here because you're helping me learn. If it's in a job interview, you'd say, that's why I'm excited to be here because this would be the next step for me. And no matter what, y'all, I highly, highly encourage you to end with gratitude and just say thank you. People are giving you their time. And, gratitude is just a wonderful gift to be given and receiving all the time. Okay. Does anybody have any questions about the future section of the pitch? The future section of the pitch. Yes, Laura.
So I'll go like this. To the listener, I am excited to be. I am excited to be here at this interview, and this is my next step.
Yes, because this would be my next step. This would be my next step.
Yes. Be my next step. Okay, thank you.
You're very welcome. Laura's already practicing gratitude. I love it. All right. So all together, you have your business section and your party section, and now you're going to put together this terrible haircut called a mullet, or maybe you think it's wonderful. I don't know. Beauty is subjective, right? That's why we're all here. I'm going to give you my pitch as if for a career person, okay? Arya, tell us about yourself. Yes, absolutely. Hi, my name is Arya Zarenkelk, and I am a career person. And I say career person because I'm not officially a career counselor, but I have been doing workforce development for over 8 years now. And I use active listening, mindfulness, and data analysis to help others help themselves and climb the mountain that is their career. I got started on this path when I was 5 years old. I'll never forget being in my mom's Honda Civic hatchback and driving through on Culver Drive in Irvine, California, suburbia, USA in Orange County. And Michael Jackson's Beat It comes on the radio. And all of a sudden, as if I'm electrified. And I'm dancing and I'm moving and I'm wiggling around my little body. And even though my feet can't touch the floor, I'm having a great time. And in that moment, I knew that I wanted to do something related to the arts. That coupled with my parents being immigrants to this country, refugees really, has put me on this path to doing this work. Currently, I'm working on my technical skills, portfolio, and doing research to learn more. And that's why I'm excited to be here because this will be the next step for me. Thank you. Right. Thank you. Yes. It takes lots of practice, right?
Good job.
So that's my pitch, and recognize that I've been doing this jam for so long that it just comes out naturally. So the first couple of times you do it, it may not come out like the smooth operator that Sade wants us all to be. I promise the more you practice, the better you're going to get at it. Just like with anything, right? The first time you picked up a needle and tried to sew, or the first time you opened up Illustrator and tried to do a sketch, mischievous, right? Now some of you are like, man, I can do this in my sleep. So I invite you just to practice. And the best part is that when we're done here, I'm going to send you this infographic, and I'm going to send you all the content I've been talking about in an email. So you'll have a written down script in addition to your notes. And I'm really stoked to see that all of you who are handwriting notes, because when we handwrite things, we learn it faster.
Yep.
Are there any questions about how to answer the question, tell me about yourself, that I can answer for y'all in the studio audience? Going once, going twice, 3 times a lady. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Ari Zarencoke, Employment Training Specialist 3. This has been how to answer the question, tell me about yourself. I always like to sign off with nourish yourself and others, cause no harm to self and others, and ease the suffering of self and others whenever, wherever possible. The time is now 6:28. And Ms. Kelly Armstrong, how long of a break would you like to give the studio audience before we dive into your magic? Please unmute yourself. Please unmute yourself.
I don't know, because this is over like at 7, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
So yeah, why don't we do maybe like 3 minutes? You guys take 3 minutes.
Okay,
Is that
3-minute
enough?
dance party. 3-minute dance party on your own. We're going to convene back at 6:32. Okay, break.
Thank you.
That was great, Aria.
Thank you.
It was
Thank you,
wonderful,
Aria.
Aria. Let's give Aria a hand, guys. All right. So I'm getting ready to share the screen. Welcome back, everyone. And so, all right. So you guys have been so fortunate to hear from Aria this evening, from Rachel, and from Priscilla. And they gave you guys some wonderful, wonderful insight about, what to do when you're actually networking, what to do when you're looking to get a job, and just some of the jobs that are available out there for you. But in order for any of that to happen, you got to be able to do this: dream, hope, believe, dare, risk, and try, right? And I like that Aria actually had his presentation where he had to put you guys out there, where you had to do something. And so mine's not going to necessarily have you do anything, but the simple fact that he made you take a risk and to kind of put yourself out there in a way that you're not used to doing is so important that you guys get used to doing that, because the more you do it, the more confidence you build and the easier it gets. But anyways, welcome to CCSF Pursuing Your Dreams Empowerment Workshop. So I am here today to give information that will help inspire you as you are thinking about pursuing your dream. I'm sorry. And then here are some of the topics that we will cover. You'll learn what I teach, what a dream is. You're going to know who you are, beliefs, values, and purpose, actions, and some tips that I'll be giving you. So, over the last 35 years, I've worked as an image consulting, teaching self-esteem and conducting personal development programs for schools, business, community organizations throughout the Bay Area. My passion lies deep in my heart with making sure that I help people become the best that they can be. So here at City College, I teach Fashion 45A, which prepares students to become personal stylists, aka image consultants. That was the term we used to use, working independently or for a retailer. It incorporates color, wardrobe selection, figure analysis, and setting up a business. And then Fashion 57, the fabric glossary class, I actually, it's a comprehensive class providing information about textile, fabric weaves, and knits. This course will actually help you identify the types of fabrics and understand how designers select them to use to realize their vision. So has anyone on this taken any of my classes? Laura, you have. You've actually taken all of them. You really have. Thank you for that.
Yeah, I took your class too.
Nelsie, who said that?
Eugenia.
Oh, Eugenia. Yes, you took the personal stuff. It was image consulting then, wasn't it?
No, it was the textiles.
Oh, the fabric glossary. What year? Do you remember when you took that?
Like about 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay. So Fashion 138 is a new class. This is a workplace and career essential class. It is designed specifically to assist you students with managing the direction of your career paths. Topics includes establishing goals, brand development, interviewing skill, resume writing, and so much more. And Aria has been a part of this class with me, working with me with the resume writing, cover letter, and he has just been so wonderful that I'm actually going to have him get a little bit more involved, because when he did that pitch thing, I'm like, oh yes, Aria, keep showing me your talent. Keep showing me your talent, because I actually have my students do a pitch. And the thing is that I'm not as colorful and as creative as you about getting them to understand what the pitch is really like. So I definitely want to have you back in the spring to do that, if you don't mind. Okay, so now we're going to actually talk about some of the things that it takes in order to pursue a dream. So the first thing you need to know is that goals and dreams complement each other. The difference between a dream and a goal is that a dream is a desired result in the future, whereas a goal is a specific result within a specific time range. And I have a quote down here by Harvey McKay. You can't really see it. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it says, goals are dreams with deadlines. So that definitely is something that I want you to keep in mind. Goals are dreams with deadlines. So who wants to share what their dream is? Does anyone want to share to me what their dream in the fashion industry is? Laura?
My dream in the fashion industry is to work a retail high-paced job. Nothing
Okay.
turns me out. But my dream was to do that or be a singer, do the arts, and stay in the artistic world.
Okay. All right. Anyone else before we move on? Who has a dream? Go ahead, Eugenia.
Yes, I dream to become a couturier, you know,
Okay.
and create this specific, fashion for individuals according to their needs and likes. That's like servicing the client for what they need and want. That's my dream.
That's all right. And
In
you know,
fashion.
thank you. And the key is to dream and dream big. Don't be afraid. Don't limit yourself to the possibilities, okay? And in order not to do that, you have to understand and believe that you can achieve this goal. Oh, what just happened? I don't know what happened, guys. Okay, so whether you can see it or not, you are the creator of your life, your reality, and all your responses to whatever happens around you. You may be creating all of this unconsciously and automatically, but nonetheless, whatever happens and how you respond, it all comes from you. So beliefs are those things that we trust to be true and which are instrumental in our creating our action and our experience in life. So if you say, I can't do it, guess what? You won't be able to do it. So your mind will, it has power. Your words have power. So if you're constantly having that kind of self-talk to yourself, it's hard, or making up excuses and stuff, you won't get to pursue your dream. So the real truth is that you got to find the courage to say, I can, instead of I can't. Another step necessary while you're pursuing your dream is identifying what you value and what your purpose in life is. And so values are those core principles which give meaning to our life. They are defined as a set of standards that determine attitudes, choices, and actions. Keep in mind that because values are learned, they are capable of waxing and waning as we adapt and change. So as you achieve some goals, your values will change, or just as life goes on, things change. So just know that your values are not set in stone, that they can change, and you can have many of them. And then this quote here meant so much to me about purpose. The purpose of life is not to be happy, but to matter, to be productive, to be useful, to have it make some difference that you lived at all. And so one of the things that I know is that when you are in tune with why you're put on this earth, you will definitely be able to make that difference in the world. How many people kind of know what the ultimate goal is? Because it's not the job.
No.
So what would be your ultimate goal? And I'm talking about in terms of how you lived your life. What kind of meaning would it have?
Successful at everything I do.
Say that again.
To be successful at everything I do. And when it comes to styling, I would like to be like the top, the best at my job.
And how would that help other people? How would you being the best stylist help other people? What would that look like?
Well, to me, as being a stylist is helping others bring out the best in them in fashion and make them look good all the time. And you know, I will be helping them be the best and look the best. And that's how you create loyal clientele. So the more loyal clientele, that's how we'll be successful. But I will be making people happy. That's what my purpose is as being a stylist.
Okay. So building confidence and making people feel good about themselves.
Yes.
And that's exactly what I do. I really do try to help people be the best that they can be.
Yes.
And you can do that because once you make them feel good on the, I like to make people feel good on the inside, because then once you get them to feel good on the inside, then the outside, that's the easy part.
Exactly.
That's the easy part. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
So went back too far. The next step is to know who you are. So to search for your identity, it's a lifelong process, you guys. And one of the things that you're going to be continually doing why does my computer keep doing this? To understand is to ask yourself, I don't know why it's doing this. To ask yourself continually, who am I and what can I do? So that becomes a lifelong process. But how many of you guys are questioning that right now?
I know pretty much that I'm an artist and I like to create beauty.
Okay. So you know who you are and you know what you can do.
Kind of. And the purpose of that is actually uplift, people, because when people are surrounded by aesthetics, automatically they become more uptone, more alive, and forget about problems and stuff like that because they are concentrated in the beauty surround them.
Okay. Thank you for that, Eugenia. And so here, the next step is, what do you want from life? So to answer this question, I always say begin with the end in mind. And this will help you to get a clear understanding of your destination. So how different our lives would be when we really know deeply what's important to us. Keeping that picture in mind, we manage ourselves each day to be to do what really matters. And so when I say begin with the end in mind, this is probably going to sound a little morbid, but just at the end of your life, how do you want the world to remember you? What will they say about you? So that's what I mean when I say begin with the end in mind. So how did you live your life? How will people remember you? Who are some of the great people that remember, and what do we remember them for? Like, for example, what do we remember Martin Luther King for?
His wisdom, his,
Absolutely. And then who else? Who is another person that we remember with great endearment?
Mother Teresa.
Yeah, there's so many people. So think about what they left behind. And if you notice, it says, if you want to live a happy life, tie it to a goal, not to people or things. So what kind of impact are you going to make in this world? And so because we're in fashion and sustainability is important, saving the earth, there's so many things that you can do along with your fashion to help make the world a better place. And not just, the making the money and all that other stuff, but just also what can I do that is going to make the next generation be happy about something. So just think about, what is it that you want from life? So along with your goal, also want to be a part of the solution to some of our world's problems. And then look at here, stop being afraid of what could go wrong and start thinking about what could go right. How many times have you stopped yourself from doing something because you said, I don't know enough, I don't have enough, I don't da 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 da. And it prevents you from moving forward. Has anyone ever experienced that? Absolutely. Oh my goodness. I remember, you guys, I used to call it the fear of failure. I had that fear of failure. Once I worked through that, then, oh my God, here comes the fear of success. So you just constantly have to keep putting yourself out there. Remember how I said how it waxes and wanes? Confidence is one of those things that you got to keep building on. You got to keep remembering what you're good at and not what you're not good at. Build on your strengths, because that's what gets you over. How do you overcome obstacles? Now, please understand that in life, you will be faced with so many obstacles, and there is no ifs, ands, and buts about it. It's going to happen to the best of us. Obstacles are presented to us because this is where we derive strength if we choose to pursue it. The strong person learns how to jump over, crawl under, or move around the obstacles. The weak person takes defeat, gives up, and uses the obstacles as a reason why they don't move ahead in life. So the real truth, obstacles don't have to stop you. If you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, work around it. Oh, you got to find ways to do it. How many people who can actually tell me of an obstacle that they've overcome?
Language. When I arrived to the United States, I didn't have a word of English. And now I have to, because otherwise I won't survive in the US.
Okay. Anyone else?
So next, Miss Kelly,
Yes?
mine is education, because I didn't have education when I was growing up, when I was a little girl, because I was in Mexico and Southern California with my grandmother, and she didn't have the means to or the strength, because she had a colostomy to get me out for school.
Okay. And Laura, one thing I know about you, you definitely have worked so hard with educating yourself. And I am so proud of you. You have done such wonderful work in my classes. Just continue to keep educating yourself. Because it's not what you didn't get then, it's what you do now. So kudos to you.
Thank you.
So another thing as you're pursuing your dream that you need to know is what people, groups, or organizations will you need to help you achieve what you want. I'd like to see a show of hands of those of you who have done volunteer work. Okay, and Laura, you were asking about volunteer work, which I thought was wonderful. So just know that there are many groups and organizations that could use volunteer support, and in return, you are building skills and meeting new and different people. It's a great way to network and a great way to hone your skills. So many colleges expect our students to have volunteer work, and that's what Priscilla does, making sure that you guys are out there getting interns, whether it's paid or not. It's a form of service. And think about the form of service you would like to provide to the world. So as you are pursuing your careers, you know, and especially if you feel like you're running into like a stalemate where it's kind of stalled, this would be the perfect time to look to an organization to get yourself outside of yourself to be of service to someone else. Because what happens when you take the focus off of you and start serving other people, you'd be so surprised how things just start opening up for you. It's kind of like, I feel like when you are being of service to the world, you get paid back. You get paid back in so many other ways. So always make sure that you are taking out time to, volunteer and be of service to other people. And at the same time, it helps you build skills and it helps you to get out there and be known. So has anybody ever done something wonderful as a volunteer that you would like to share with us? Any organizations that you work with?
Oh, yes. As a graphic designer, I always was giving artwork for, charity, like if they have an event and they need a flyer or something, I
Okay,
did it
nice.
for, you know.
Okay, nice. Anyone else?
When I was younger, I did some volunteer work for Salvation Army for 3 months.
Okay.
Receptionist helping senior citizens get their meals.
Nice. Anyone else? One more person. Come on. I need some new people. Open up. All right, Nelsie, tell me.
Well, I did phone banking for the Democrats for this election.
Okay. All right. Thank you. There's so many opportunities out there, guys. And now that we're opening it up, I think it's a great way to take advantage of that. And so now, what is your plan of action? So after you do all of these things, you find out who you are, what you value, what your purpose in life is. You got to really put it all into a plan. So for those of you that have taken my Fashion 138 workplace and career essentials class, you are prepared for the journey. For those of you who have not taken the class, you'll have the opportunity to enroll in the fall and in the spring, and I'll look forward to working with you. And I go into this kind of stuff a little bit much deeper than what I'm doing right now. So I'm really hoping that I get to see some of you. And so self-confidence is a belief in oneself, one's abilities, or one's judgment. It is freedom from doubt. And when you can believe you can change things or make a difference in a situation, you are much more likely to succeed. So he who is not courageous enough to take risk will accomplish nothing in life. So just remember this, guys. And look who said this, Muhammad Ali. And this was probably one of the most courageous men that I know.
Yes.
So if you don't take risk, you're not going to accomplish anything. So I'm just talking to all of you, because one of the things that I think Zoom has done to students is it allows you to hide and to not put yourself forward. Don't do that. Don't do that, because really you're hurting yourself, because you have something to offer. Every single one of you on this Zoom call has something inside of you that's wonderful, that's waiting to come out. And I would like to hear it. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see faces. I'd like to hear what you have to say, because you have something to offer. And I need you to realize that and to know it. But as long as you hide behind it, we don't know who you are. And, you can't get a lot done doing that. So please open up. Don't be afraid to take risk and show us who you are and what you are. So here's a couple of resources that I have for you, a couple of books. And I think because this is being recorded, you'll be able to have access to what these titles are. So I would actually like to thank all of you for your time and your attention. And I do hope to see some of you in my classes. So thank you again. And Priscilla and Aria and Rachel, thank you guys for putting on a workshop like this to enlighten our students.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Ms. Kelly Armstrong. All right, y'all, we are 3 minutes to 7. I'd like to take another opportunity to thank Rachel, Ms. Kelly Armstrong, Priscilla, and all of you for coming and participating in today's Fashion Career Workshop. Give each other all a round of applause. I'm in business until 7 o'clock at night. I mean, you can see in Rachel's screen, it's like nighttime, complete pitch black. So thank you all again. Just remember, you're a part of this village. Everyone on this screen takes care of each other.
Absolutely.
And, Priscilla, Kelly, and myself are absolutely here at your service at City College. And If you need anything from us, please don't be strangers, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thank you.
Kelly, Priscilla, is there anything else y'all want to add before we sign off?
No, I just want to say, you know what, you guys, walk boldly into this world. There's only one you, and we're waiting for you.
Priscilla, please unmute yourself.
I just wanted to thank everyone for coming. And if you guys ever have any questions now or later, feel free to email me. And again, Rachel, that was fabulous. Kelly, Aria. And if Kelly and Aria can stay at the end, I just have a question for you guys.
Okay, absolutely.
Right? Have a great week, you guys.
Yes,
Thank
you.
you.
Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Rachel.
And just one more quick thing, I'm going to send an email out. It's a survey just to kind of share your experiences on how the whole workshop went. Please tell us what was fantastic. Please tell us about what you didn't like about the dude with the crazy beard and the glasses. All feedback is welcome. Okay.
Thank
You're welcome.
you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.